Tuesday, November 5th, the entire nation will be all around gathered to see the most important reveal of the day, which is the college football playoff rankings show. And I'm here to tell you right now, it's garbage. It sucks. I don't care what the rankings end up looking like and what they put out today, but the show sucks fundamentally, and I'll tell you exactly why. Already, I know some people might be up in arms. After all, it's kind of exciting right now. We get to finally see what the committee thinks of how everything's panning out this year. You might ask, why does it suck? Well, it sucks for the fundamental reason that there doesn't need to be a show every week. We don't need to be continually shown what the committee's thinking week by week as the college football season goes on. One show would do. College basketball does it and has been doing it like that for a long time. Same with college baseball. We don't need to have a sneak preview every single week. In fact, it hurts more than it helps. The only person it helps is the committee itself and the college football playoff itself, because that is about ratings and money. If you look at their schedule, they have all these shows scheduled for each selection show that they're going to be doing. And you notice that some of them start at strange times, like Tuesday, November 12th. And that's because they're going to be doing it in between the State Farm Championship Classic games or whatever, the college basketball showcase games. And that's because they know more eyes will be tuned in to see this. This is not about informing the public or letting them see behind the curtain at what the process is. This is about money, which one would argue that's what the entire college football playoff has been about, but that's a completely different conversation. And then something that kind of ties into this all is that nothing but the last ranking actually matters. It does not matter what the committee does in all of those weeks leading up to the final ranking until the final ranking. We've seen two absolutely egregious cases of the prior rankings not really mattering or factoring in at all. It was in 2014 and just this last season. In 2014, it was TCU. They were at 10-1, headed into conference championship week. For everyone else, they played their 12th game, got a dominant win, but then the committee randomly decided, you know what, let's respect Ohio State's Big Ten championship, and let's suddenly decide to respect head-to-head for TCU and Baylor. They flopped TCU all the way down from 3-6 after a win and just completely flipped on everything. And then in 2024, a little bit of a different scenario, but a team that was undefeated in Florida State and wins their conference championship. And so it's like, oh, the committee really values conference championships, right? Nope. In this case, Florida State didn't look very good. So they decided to drop them to 5, and they're out of the college football playoff behind 2 one-loss teams. So the committee has shown that nothing really matters except for that final ranking, because they could have a ton of precedent in place and a ton in their rankings that shows they think one way, but they can literally just flip it in the final ranking and decide, we're not really going to do that. It's a bad look for the committee, it's confusing for the fans, and overall it's just a very frustrating thing to see unfold. Another reason the ranking show sucks is because the committee is essentially made up of politicians. You look at the positions that the people on the committee hold and what they do. They're not ball knowers. They're not people that are hitting the books, really studying hard. They're politicians. If you remember Boo Corrigan each week getting interviewed after the rankings are revealed by Reese Davis. Davis throws him softball after softball, and he can't even hit the softballs. He's giving indirect answers. He's not answering questions that are directly thrown at him, and it's just a super frustrating thing to watch. It literally feels like you're watching a politician get interviewed. True story, there was a professor at the school I attended who was on the college football playoff committee. One time I talked to them to be like, yo, what's up? What's this like? They had no idea what they were talking about. They couldn't tell you the difference between Memphis and Kansas State. It was really, really embarrassing to see, and it's really affected the way I view the college football playoff committee since, because the longer you look at it, the more you realize these guys actually have no idea what they're talking about. And finally, it goes hand in hand with everything else. The show is way too long. And this has to do with ratings. This has to do with the political speak. There's lots of rambling and then pointless discussion thereafter for the rankings. They take a little bit too long to reveal the rankings in the first place. But in terms of the pointless discussion, we'll be in week 11. And if you remember, there was a big controversy when Michigan State and Kenneth Walker had just beaten Michigan. But a few weeks later, Michigan's one spot above Michigan State. So they argued on the show, does head-to-head matter? How will this affect the rankings? And then, it ended up not mattering at all because Michigan State ended up losing another game, and so head-to-head didn't necessarily matter anymore. It's that kind of pointless discussion that can be very frustrating because we're rambling and talking about something like that, dragging it on for an hour and a half, and then it ends up not even factoring in at all and not even being something that matters. But I'm not just going to sit here and point out every flaw with the system and complain. I'm going to propose a solution. It's a solution I've long proposed. It's a simple solution. And if the people in charge actually cared about college football, they would probably listen to this, but they won't because they don't. My proposed solution is that we have one selection show at the end of the season, just like Selection Sunday, just like college basketball. It would make things so much more exciting, so much more intense, not having any idea how the committee feels or is thinking about these schools heading in to the final week of the season, and then we just find out. This would also change things, and there wouldn't be teams that could go into cruise control. I know people are concerned about teams selling games or teams intentionally not winning because they know, oh, we'll be in a good spot in the 12-team playoff era. Well, guess what? If we don't know what the committee is thinking, you could be undefeated and you don't know where you are in the standings. I think that would really help things if we had no idea until Selection Sunday. And the main pushback I get from this, I put in quotes, the committee needs public pressure to change their rankings or to get them right, is what people are saying. Well, first off, the committee has long shown they don't care what the public thinks, and they won't listen to the public. And secondly, if you've got a committee that is so easily swayed by the public that they have to show their hand every week to be like, how's this ranking? How should I change it? And use public outrage to adjust, that's not who I want picking my playoff in the first place. And if they're that bad, we'll just get rid of them and get new committee members in there. The show being dragged out in this case is fine to me, because if it's only one show and we're doing one Selection Sunday at the end of the year and that's it, I am okay with the show being a little longer, them fluffing it up a little bit. They can have all their TV ratings they want for that one show. And I think the committee members should be held accountable and be available to the press afterwards. The fact that all we get right now is an internal interview with one of the guys at the same network as them, throwing them softball questions, not really pressing on anything. There's no consequences. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then finally, they need to come up with a clear guiding rating system. College basketball has the net rankings and several other rating systems that they actually use and as guiding resources. There is not any such thing in college football right now. They don't have a clear guiding rating system. They don't have something as simple as how to judge top 25 wins or how to judge a resume. It's pretty nasty work right now. And so those are the things I would do and I would implement if I was in charge of getting this college football playoff thing done the right way. That's the video. I put it out there. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As usual, if you enjoyed it, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and let me know what you think of the rankings. You'll know it before I do. I'm past Tyler, and when I'm recording this, the rankings haven't come out yet. By the time I posted it, they won't quite be out yet, and maybe they nail it, and maybe they change my mind, but even them nailing it wouldn't change my mind. All the prior points still stand. I think it's a pretty ridiculous thing in a sport as lucrative as this. We can't figure out something as simple as this. But that is all I have to say. We'll have the weekly mega picker with every prediction for every single Week 11 game out on Thursday like we do every week, and I will see you guys later this week.